All right, boys and girls. So today, maybe a lot of you know who this is, who I have on the customer interview today. It's going to be Ivan the Great on Instagram. And Ivan's been one of our private clients for the last, I want to say like year and a half, almost 2 years now, correct?
Yeah, I say it's at the 2 year mark now.
Hell yeah. So like, I mean, for those of you who followed Ivan, you guys should know by now, he was cutting out in Wichita, Kansas at first, built his business up to over $100 a haircut out in Wichita, and then just recently moved out to the Dallas, Texas area. And in the first 30 days of moving to Dallas, Texas, he was able to go from zero to still making his first 10K month in Dallas, still charging a $100 price point. So I definitely want to dive into that. I definitely want to dive into a lot of like what you've learned along the way, kind of your journey and what led up to you moving and like what you saw that helped you out make the move as seamless as possible. But I really want to start off, dude, like, I guess before we started working together in the Elevated Mentorship Program, kind of going all the way back to your time in Wichita, Kansas, kind of take me back. What was your business like overall? How'd you get into barbering? And I guess what got you into looking into like getting like some more help in the Elevated Mentorship Program?
Okay, so I got into barbering, man, because I was cutting my own hair at the time, and I was like, you know what, I might as well charge for this because other people were asking me. But I remember the day I saw one of your ads on YouTube. I was watching another YouTube video to get kind of hyped up to go into work, bro. I was burnt out. I was doing like 15 haircuts a day, and I saw your video on one of the ads, and it was like, oh, you want to see how what's his name, Chris from LA makes charges $100 a haircut, and I was like, you know what? Let me see what Deluxe is talking about. Let me take a call with him, man. Since then, like, I talked to one of your guys that helped me get on the program, and he kind of told me straight up, like, you're just burnt out. You're working too much. Like, you don't even want to go to work no more and cut hair, and I like cutting hair. I really do. But doing 15, 20 heads a day was not fun anymore, And I really wanted to get into, like, charging more, but for what I was really worth.
Sure. So for you, like you were doing 15, 20 haircuts a day. Like what were you charging back then?
At that time, it was 35, 40.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So 35, 40. I mean, what was did you have like a plan at all? Like on to grow more? Was like your plan on growing or like making more? Or was just to like, cut more heads? Were you even in the mind frame of like making more money? Did you think it was even possible? Like where was your head at?
I didn't think it was possible, bro. I really didn't. Because I was stuck at 35, 40, booked out 6 days a week, like 2, 3 weeks in advance. And I was like, dude, how do I make more money? Like is going up on prices the right thing to do? Or like, how do I do it without breaking my business, And I didn't have any of that information until I saw your clip on YouTube and stuff, But
Sure.
I was confused. I knew I wanted to, help my business in some way or form, but I just didn't know how,
Okay, so we started working together. Obviously, like for those of you who have watched like an Instagram profile, like should be very aware. Like I know like maybe the first like couple months or so, you didn't really get off to like the biggest growth curve, right? Like you were kind of maybe like struggling on posts and stuff like that. Like take me through that. Like what was kind of going on with you mentally overall? Like what really like kind of got you to break through like on social media and start getting new clients, start scaling up the business?
Well, I like this question because I remember hitting 20K at one point in the first, like, I don't know, 6 months in the program, like 20K followers. And I was stuck there, bro. And I was stuck. I was doing like kind of like those basic ASMR action clip videos. And I wasn't getting no new clients. And I don't know why. At $50, I was getting good views, good impressions and reach, but it just wasn't banging like I wanted it to for $50 a haircut. And then we had a talk. I was about to give up. I don't know if you remember the call we had. I was about to give up. And he just told me to keep going, like I wasn't done. And I decided to get in front of the camera and do these consultations. And as soon as I did that, everything just skyrocketed, because I was scared to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I was really scared. I think a lot of people are when they start doing these consultations. We're kind of nervous, shy, timid. And as soon as I did it and started improving on that, my business just blew up and it helped. It helped a lot, And then since then, it's been growing and it's still growing.
I mean, like, what were you nervous about? Like, dude, I think I even told him, like, dude, you're a fucking good looking dude, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think you do well in front of the camera. What were you nervous about? Like, what was kind of going through your head?
Just being judged by other people, Like it's people gonna be like, oh, you're making these cute little videos, or like you don't like how, a lot of people don't like how the way they sound on camera too, or the way they look. And once I figured out like, okay, if there's something I don't like about myself, let me just change that. If I can't change it, just ignore it or live with it and get over it, right? And definitely like just improving my communication skills, being on camera more. It's just all repetition, Like the more you do it, the more comfortable you're gonna get. It's just like cutting hair. So I just started working on that,
Was there like something like I think whenever somebody comes up with like a fear, like they're afraid to do something. I mean, obviously you gotta give yourself like a little bit of pep talk or get yourself prepared. Like was there something like every single day when you're like, all right, this is my one focus, or something to like really dial you in or motivate you to like at least make sure you don't, I don't know, like not wimp out on like actually taking the video?
I had a lot of doubt from people, and that kind of made me like not wimp out, right? Like, oh, it's not gonna work if you do it. You can't charge this much. And I was like, man, I'm scared to do this. I'm scared to get in front of the camera, but I can't let these people win, right? Like doubt from other people is really like, it's useless. You don't need it, And and it should put a fire on you and help you grow in some way. And some people, I feel like, think that's a bad mindset to have, kind of like a negative mindset. But if it helps you grow and it helps you push through those fears, I think it's useful, right?
Yeah, like using more of like a motivation or like something to like prove them wrong overall. Was it like people in your hometown? Was it like some of your clients? Was it like people you knew? Like who was like nobody was like charging $100 prior before you went in Wichita, Kansas, correct?
No, nobody is. I don't think anybody is right now either. Still.
Sure. So was it like were people telling you like it wasn't possible? Do you feel like it was a little bit of like internally you didn't think it was possible, so you're kind of like projecting these things? Like what was it over?
A little bit of both. I mean, I think everyone has a little bit of self-doubt, but I try to kill that thought. A lot of it was comments on social media, or I hear like other barbers kind of like talk and not say directly to me. Same with like Greg. I know Greg had this thing with his dad where his dad didn't really believe in him. My dad was the same way, you know, coming from a Hispanic family. They look at me kind of crazy, like, you're gonna mess up charging $100, this and that. And you know what? I just didn't let it get to me, and I was like, you know, I have to show them that it's possible for them to really believe in me. So it's okay that they doubted me, but if I show them, then they'll stop doubting me and appreciate the things I do.
Hell yeah. Does your dad like kind of like look at it a little bit different light now that you've like, you know, obviously, you know, scaled your business in Wichita, you made the successful move over? Like, does he look at it a little bit differently? Still look at the same? Like, how do those people view it right now for you?
So my dad, he's I can tell he's shocked about it. He's not a real emotional guy. That's how like a lot of Hispanic dads are, but he's like shocked. I can tell he's really proud of me in his own ways, because he's like, just his face says it all whenever I show him the numbers and stuff, and like, damn, this kid's really making some good money, you know. And I'm the youngest and I have two older brothers, so like I think he's really proud that I am where I am right now. And especially from my childhood, like I used to get in a lot of trouble, you know, just ditching school, getting arrested, all this bull crap. And my dad seeing what I'm doing now, he's like, man, out of all these kids, all my nephews or nieces or cousins and siblings, and I'm probably doing one of the best out of the whole family, you know. So I'm sure he really appreciates what I'm doing right now.
Was that like a big driving force for you? Because I feel like a lot of us as barbers, you know, when we choose to be a barber, like not a lot of people believe in us, but I think a lot of like family members also too kind of like, oh, you're just a barber type thing. Was that like a big driving force for you to actually succeed? Because like one of my questions was like, I see a lot of barbers like, and I talk to a lot of barbers that are just not internally motivated to make more money for whatever reason. Like for you, what was the reason why you wanted to grow, why you wanted to scale, why you wanted to make more money? What was that reason for you?
For that exact same reason you said, like I saw myself just as a barber, and I was tired of like seeing myself like that. And I don't know, other people saw me that way too, and I just didn't like that view on me. And I knew I can do something else. So like marketing myself as a barber, I'm sure you heard this a lot. Like a lot of barbers think they're entrepreneurs, but they're really not, because they don't track any kind of numbers or help their business grow. And me hearing that, like, oh, you're just a barber, sometimes I think to myself still, like, oh, I'm just a barber still, you know. But when I step back and look at it in like an eagle eye point of view, a marketer, I'm my own businessman. Like it's really how you carry yourself and run yourself as a business. So that kind of changed the thought of me just being a barber, you know.
Yeah, I guess like for everyone like watching, like, what would you say is the biggest difference between like a barber versus like, you know, let's say from your standpoint, like a business, and how you look at the how what are the differences between the two that you see?
Just a barber, you're just a professional. If you just come in and cut hair and try to make as much money, you're just a barber, you know. But someone like me and other people in the program that come in, or we record content, we post content, we track our numbers, like our data analytics and how much money we're making, where's our money going, should we spend on the business or not. That's the actual business side of barbering that a lot of barbers don't do at all, and what separates us from the other barbers. So like people that charge $100, we all have this business mindset, and we run ourselves like a business, and we have numbers to prove it. That's the reason we kind of charge a lot, because we got so much to deal with too, you know.
Obviously, like to make that change, there's like a lot of habits that go into that, right? Like what are some like habits that you had to change in yourself, maybe on a day-to-day basis, or just like, you know, in general in life, to like kind of like make that transition from like a barber to like a businessman for yourself?
There's this quote you told me a long time ago, bro, that I still remember. It's how you do one thing is how you do everything. That stuck with me. So like I make sure if I do something with 100% effort into it, and cutting hair, maybe on the business side I should too. Another quote you told me is, whatever gets measured gets managed. So when I started like measuring my numbers, keeping track of all this stuff, it's easier to manage your business, and that helped me a lot with becoming a business, or, you know, running myself as a professional businessman, you know. So
like take me through like what your typical day would be like when you were just like, you know, charging $35 a cut, you're doing like 10 to 15, 20 haircuts a day, and then what is your day-to-day like right now? Like obviously charging $100 a haircut, making 10K a month. I think I had the wind pulled up here as well too. I think you only work like 19 days, correct? And then
Yeah, I did because I had to go back home to Wichita for some a dentist appointment. But
okay,
besides that,
gotta
like,
get the teeth done.
yeah. But yeah, it was. I like that one a lot, man, because it's definitely a scary thought coming into Dallas and not knowing what's gonna happen. You know.
So take me through again too. Like, what was your day to day looking like morning to night when you were just doing the barber, like doing the like quote unquote just being a barber. Charging $35, doing all the haircuts. Like, take me through what your day to day would look like back then, if you can remember.
Yeah, so back then when I was working at charging $40 a haircut, I was coming in at 9, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8 p.m. every day with 1 hour break, bro. So it was like 7 to 8 in the beginning, 7 to 8 in the afternoon. That's it, bro. I would go home and like sit there and watch TV and like ignore everybody because my social battery was just drained for having so many different conversations with people that I just wouldn't talk to nobody. Like just sit there and watch a movie and do nothing. That's it, you know? And then do it all over again the next day. And that was kind of boring and like depressing, to be honest.
It's probably like, dude, like I think a lot of barbers I like get to a certain point where it's like it's fun growing up to that level, but once you kind of get to that level, it's like, all right, what else is next? Like, what am I supposed to do after this, right? I'm kind of just like at this level, and it's like you get into like a very like redundant cycle, and you're kind of like, all I'm doing is just fucking working every day, right? I'm like not making any progress on anything else. Like, you can get more clients, but it's like, what, to cut more hair and work more? Like that doesn't make sense. You were doing that, and then what does your day to day look like right now?
So my day to day right now, usually I wake up pretty early. I say like 6, head to the gym, and then once I get back from the gym, I start my work at 10 and start working at 6:30. But throughout the day, I'm actually recording content. During my lunch, I sit there and like study content too. When I get home, I track all my numbers, and then I reflect on the day, try to pre-plan for the next day, and do that all over. And then the weekend comes, and I can actually enjoy myself and not be stressed out at the end of the day or at the weekend, and have enough fun to do whatever I really want to do. I have more time to myself right now. I really enjoy that part, and I'm making more. So why not focus on the business side to have more time for myself?
And when you say reflecting, like, what are you doing? Like, when you reflect, are you just like reflecting on like what's working, or are you kind of like looking over like, okay, what do I really want to achieve? What's the next thing? Like, what are you doing throughout that process?
I reflect what is working, so I always be grateful about what things is. I'm always trying to be grateful for all the things that's going right in my business, but I also want to look back and reflect on things that aren't working and try to understand why they're not working. And a lot of times I'll call like Nicolo, he's my accountability partner. We'll talk on the phone and brainstorm ideas and look at content, and that's kind of like all I really do is reflect on that point.
So obviously, again, too, you built up like a big business in Wichita, Kansas. Like, you were the first one, like, and probably the only one out there charging $100. Like, how was that for you? Like getting up to that level? Like, was it nerve wracking when you were first charging $100? Could you believe it? Like, take me to that point when you first started charging $100 and like actually, like maybe that first month when you had that price raise.
It wasn't that nerve wracking. I think it was more nerve wracking for me going from 50 to 75 because that was my biggest price jump. Once I had that feeling like out the way, then I knew like 100 is definitely gonna work. Especially like being in the mentorship program and you guys helping me out, putting the numbers in front of my face actually gave me a lot of confidence. Like, dude, these are your numbers. It says to go up on prices. You're gonna be okay, right? And I had enough confidence at that time, so like talking to clients, explaining to them why I'm going up wasn't that big of an issue. And it's really like time is money, and time you can't get time back like you can with money, So my time is definitely worth it what I'm charging, and my clients saw that, and it was pretty easy for me to go up to 100. It wasn't that nerve wracking like it was at 75.
I definitely saw like a shift in you, dude. Like, I do remember like when you were kind of like struggling a little bit, or like you kind of got complacent a couple times, didn't you?
Yeah, I do often. I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of people do, but I do it too often. But at least I catch myself doing it.
I mean, you don't have to go into too much detail, but like, what kind of gets you complacent? Like, when you notice like these cycles, what do you notice that you do pretty often overall, like that gets you in that complacent mindset?
I hit a goal, and once I hit that goal, I'm back to where I was before, right? And I think we talked about this in the program too, where like you shouldn't set a goal. You should you should raise your lowest standards, because then you keep going, right? And I need to quit. I need to keep doing that, just raising my lowest standards higher and higher and higher. So it'll help me grow and not stop at those goals, right? But that's
now, when you say raise your lowest standards, for those who like that don't know, like, can you give like a little bit like insight what that means, like raising lowest standards?
You explain it to me pretty simple with like money, because money is like easy to see, right? So say in the program you talk about this, say you have anywhere between 10,000 and 1,000 in the bank account. Your lowest standard is 1,000. So if you raise that lowest standard to 10,000, then you're always going to keep growing and growing and growing. So that's how I saw it too, but that can work with anything from the gym to cutting hair to posting content to your money, and it definitely works for me in every part of my life,
And for you, like how are people like taking it that you're charging $100? I think a lot of barbers, like, they get scared overall to like charge a higher price point, or like, I'm I'm sure you hear a lot of barbers say that, like, they don't want to, like, oh man, I could never charge $100. I don't know how my clientele would do it, or like, I don't know how people would take it overall. How did people like take to you charging $100? Did they start hating on you? Did they like shit on your business? Did they like congratulate you? Like, how was that received from, like, whether it be the barbers that you work with, barbers in your town, or even the clients that you cut overall?
So the barbers I work with, they're all happy for me because that they noticed this, and so did the shop owner. Is like, since I'm going up on prices and I'm so booked up, my clients that don't want to get cut by me anymore are trickling down to the rest of the barbers in the shop. So that worked out for everybody in the business. Outside, I mean, I had a lot of clients that didn't like it, but they're not going to stay with me for the whole time of my career, right? And that's understandable. I'm pretty like okay with that. It wasn't a big deal. And I think a lot of barbers, they want to make their clients super happy before themselves, right? So, and that kind of hurts you in the long run because then you're just tired of working, tired of cutting hair. And it's really important to be a little selfish with your time. And I think clients would definitely enjoy that. The ones that appreciate you, at least.
Yeah, I agree with you, like, on terms of like the barbershop thing. Like, I don't know why more barbers don't like celebrate like other people in their shop or other people in their area like going up on price, because it's kind of like a win for them, right? Like, obviously, like for you, like, you're gonna lose clients that don't want to stick with that price point, which means like there's gonna be a plethora of like clients that are currently looking for a new barber that can go to the barbers in the shop that you're working with, other barbers in the area as well too. And also too, it sets like a new standard of like what's possible, right? And I feel like there's too many barbers that like kind of shit on other people for charging higher prices, or like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. It's like, dude, like, kind of like what you said, if the numbers like warrant that price increase and your business is gonna be fine, like, freaking do the price increase, right? Like, take that, and like it's gonna set like a new standard for like everyone else in that area to like actually like scale up and grow. You said something about like into like how barbers, like, again, they're more thinking about, how their clients are going to react versus like being selfish. And I think a lot of people, I remember talking to you about this as well too, Ivan. Like, I think a lot of people have the wrong idea about being selfish, right? Being selfish doesn't mean like, it's like you shit on other people, you take. It's like putting your needs first, because nobody else is going to put your needs before yourself. So like, when we think about a barber business, I think barbers have like incredible hearts. Like, I like, for myself too, I would put everybody else before myself, and at thinking that like at the end of the day, like, okay, if I do that, somebody else is going to do that for me. But what came around was like, nobody else put me before themselves. Everybody else put themselves for me. And I'm like, dude, I'm not getting taken care of, right? Like, for you, like, how did you start, I guess, reworking? I think we did have a conversation about how to be more selfish in your business. Like, how do you see being selfish as like a plus side of the business, and how are you being more selfish with whether it be yourself, your business, on a day-to-day basis?
It's important to be selfish because it's a lot about, it has to do a lot with time. You don't get time back. So, taking care of your health, taking care of your finances, that's all a selfish act. But it's kind of like, I don't know, I just think it's really important to be selfish. Like you said, it's technically not bad. It's just some people see it, but it's important to be selfish, bro, because as a barber, when you're cutting everybody, trying to care everybody, you don't really please nobody. But when you start like narrowing down the clients that really do appreciate you, and you're being more selfish with your time, those clients will come at any price point and appreciate it, because now you really care more about the work at $100. And that's something I learned. I'm just being selfish with my time, and like my clients will be like, you know what, I really appreciate this guy and his knowledge, because it's just kind of hard to explain. I can feel it, the selfishness, and like my clients can feel how selfish is a good thing, but it's really kind of hard for me to explain, put it in words.
Yeah, like I think the word selfish like has a bad connotation to it, right? Like, people think, again, to being selfish means like, again, to you're taking, or like you're putting other people down, when it's really not that. It's like the gas mask theory, man. Like, you got to put your like, if your plane's going down, put your mask on before you help anybody else out, because you can't help anybody else out until you help yourself out, right? Like, for yourself, I mean, again, too, I'm sure by you being selfish and putting all of your attention into your business, you've helped friends, family, co-workers, shit, even just other barbers in Wichita to believe that, like, okay, things are possible to grow here. Because I'm willing to bet, dude, like, I remember talking to like people in Wichita, Kansas too, like prior on calls, and like, oh, you can't scale out here, you can't charge that amount out here. It's like it's like there's nothing out here, but like, you showed it's possible, right? Which is like, you just set like a new standard for people out there just by being selfish in your business.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's cool that I set a standard in somewhere like that, because I talked to all those barbers still from Wichita, and their standard raised up really high too. And that's all from me being selfish with my time, and the fact that I stepped away from the chair and not cutting as much helped me interact with other barbers in the shop and show them the stuff I learned. And it just helped everyone else out for me being just a little bit of selfish. And like you said, selfish isn't a bad thing, right?
Like, not only being selfish, but also like getting over that fear of like putting yourself in front front of the camera, right? It's always like those two things I think like a lot of barbers struggle with, like being more selfish and then getting over like these fears of like getting in front of the camera, trying new things, or like pushing the business forward. And like if you get over these two things, like you'll be so like amazed like how fast you can scale a business. I definitely want to touch on like your move, because like it's been one of the most interesting things I've seen, right? Like you did like a little like I think you announced the move like what, 60 days before you actually moved, correct?
I want to say a little longer than that. It was probably like 90 days, so 3 months before I moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's three. I mean, it's still like a short time frame, right? 3
Yeah.
months. You made the decision you're gonna move. Like, first of all, why Dallas?
I moved out here to Dallas because I was coming out here pretty often, and I realized every time I come visit Dallas, I was getting recognized. And my best friend lives out here, so I moved in with him. He also does content, and I like being around people that are doing the same thing as I'm doing, so it helps me out, right? But I just noticed that a lot of these people are noticing me out here. What if it does work? What if I move out here and these people that recognize me do start booking with me? And also being in Wichita, I felt like a big fish in a small pond. I kind of didn't have that much pressure on me like I did when I first started in the program at $50. And being in Dallas, there's way more barbers out here. There's way better barbers with better skill sets than me. And I just want to see what I can do with them guys here in the same city, right? Or them putting the pressure on me, or them hating on me, them doubting me, all that kind of stuff. I knew it was going to happen, and it worked out, you know?
Did you always want to move out of Wichita? Like, I feel like we did have a conversation. Like, you always wanted to move, but like you wanted to like take care of business in Wichita first, correct?
Yeah, I always wanted to move. I always wanted to move out of here and do something. Like, just, I think it was you or someone else explained it to me this way. It's like living in your house and never going to the backyard. And that's kind of weird. So why not go explore, different areas, and maybe view of life will change too when you go out there. And that's kind of what happening to me right now, you know?
Like, and your game plan was like really interesting. Like going out there, like you didn't just like, I mean, of course you had like a really big like profile, you were getting clients in from social media, but you took like a different approach to it, right? Like you did like 30 or 60-day challenge overall where you post content like leading up to the move. Like what was the mentality behind that?
That's a good question. I saw a lot of these episodes. I would call them episodes on social media of other influencers doing it, and it was working for them, and people were intrigued, right? And Alex Ramosi talks about this a lot too. He also says people don't want to just see the product; they want to see the founder of the product and what they're doing and how they're scaling that business. And I put that mindset into the barbering business because no other barbers were doing that. I think so. Or they were, but not in the way I was doing it. They were more like, oh, follow me to the road to 1 million followers or something. And not really the money side of it or the client side of it, right? Just trying to scale their Instagram page, which is cool, but it's really not helpful unless you got some type of cash coming from it, right? And that's kind of where like the inspiration came from on doing those type of episodes. But those episodes helped me out a lot because not only was I attracting clients with that, but other barbers were actually viewing my page, reaching out and asking for advice, which is so cool to me because I never had no one reach out advice, and I never thought I'd be that person to give out advice. And it felt good talking to people. It felt good to like give out the things I learned and helping people out, And I think that's what I'm gonna do in the future now, is try to figure out a way to help other barbers, even not just barbers, but other small businesses. I feel like I can help a lot of people out and show them that it is possible to scale your small business and make it even better, right?
I guess for you, was there like a mentality like when you were going through each post? Did you plan things out? Was it kind of just like you took it like day by day? Like what was the mentality going through it?
Yeah, I took it day by day. I was trying to figure out, okay, what are some problems? People like watching people's problems on social media. It is what it is, But if I figure out a problem that I can post about and fix that, find a solution for it, that's what I thought about every day. Like, okay, what's today's problem? What's something that other people might have and similar, like same problems as me, and let me make a post about that, and that's gonna attract more clients too, So that was kind of my mindset behind each post I did.
And then obviously you moved. Like what was like day one? Did you already have like clientele out there? Were you going like moving back and forth? I think you took like a couple days like where you cut out in Dallas and then you go back to Wichita. Like how was that process going for you? Like did you just like make a hard shift like just to start there and be like, all right, we'll see what we got? Like what was the process?
Dude, I didn't even cut out here at all until I moved out here. But the first week I moved out here, I'll be honest, I didn't have nowhere to cut. I had options. I had shops. I went to go look at suites. I didn't have nowhere. I was like, dude, what am I going to do? The next week coming up, the next 2 weeks were already booked out. And I was like, bro, I got to find a spot quick. So the first week I was out here, I was driving around all DFW area trying to find suites. Barbershops were kind of out of the picture because I worked at a barbershop for 8 years, and I was like, dude, I don't want to go into a barbershop and then be like, hey, can everybody be, shut up for a second, I'm recording. That would be kind of disrespectful. At the old shop, I was managing it, so it was a lot easier for me to do that. And I kind of wanted to be alone since I was a barber for 8 years in the shop, and being in a suite was definitely like a better move for me. But it was weird the first week, kind of tough because like I didn't know what I was going to do at all,
Sure.
Once I found the spot, it was game time. You know, I hit up Squire, changed my address, texted all the future clientele that I had out here, and told them the location, and it just ended up working.
So you had people already booked with you, and like, but you just didn't have a location. So it was like, I got did you have ideas like if you didn't find a spot, you were gonna cut like I don't know your house? Like, what was like your plan? You just kind of like I'm gonna just wing it and like figure it out.
Yeah, no, I had a shop that I could work at that was kind of close to me that I did like their vibe. But my whole game plan is like if I didn't find a suite in time, I'm gonna go cut at the shop for like a couple weeks till I find a suite and then have all my clients go there, you know? So I kind of did have like a backup plan, but I don't really like having backup plans because then you can't make that first plan work, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, like what did this move teach you overall? I'm sure there was like a couple big lessons that you learned from doing like this move, making that big jump. Like what was like some biggest lessons you could share?
I guess one of the biggest lessons I learned is just do it. And the quicker you do it, the quicker the results you're gonna get. And that will tell you what's your next step or your next move to do. Because if I would have took a lot longer, I probably would have never done it, or the results wouldn't came in like how I wanted them to. Right?
Yeah.
Just be fearless and go do those things. Like if you're one of my clients and you tell me like you have this business idea and you're working part-time, you're doing that, I'm gonna tell you straight up to quit your job and just go full in, because that's the best way to get results, to see if it doesn't work. And that's kind of what I did with moving. I was like, dude, I just got to do it as soon as possible, set a date, do that, and take action, and then figure it out from there, you know?
What's your biggest lessons or things that you learned along the way? Maybe like since like when you were charging 35 all the way to now that like, you know, you wish you would have known like back then, or even that you would want to share with like a young barber starting out.
It's okay to take price cuts, right? Because I know every time I went up on prices, like 75 and 100, the first month was kind of scary because I took a big price cut. I didn't have that much money coming in like I was at the previous price point. But you're taking a price cut to make even more money in the future, because that you're basically buying back time. That's kind of how you explain it to me, right? Like, okay, yeah, I'm making less, but I have so much more time to actually work on the business instead of inside the business. And I think I'm getting close to a price raise now because I'm so booked up that I don't have enough time for me to actually sit there and figure out what's going on in the business instead of just coming in and cutting hair, right?
For you, what is your eyes like in terms of that? Like, is there a certain level you're trying to get to in terms of like price point, income level? Like, what do you want to achieve inside the barber business in Dallas?
Definitely try to scale up to $200 a haircut, $20K a month. That's still the goal. But in overall, mostly just get out of cutting hair full time. I still want to be in the barber industry, but working behind the chair for income, like constantly, just kind of sucks to me, you know? Like I really want to be creative, and just working every day steps doesn't help me be creative at all, right? So definitely in the future, like once I learn how to make that money, not only through cutting hair, but through social media, I feel like I can step away from cutting hair and helping other barbers or any other person out. That's kind of what I have planned for Dallas right now.
I guess for you, well, I guess before we go on, I mean, did you want to ask questions on here, like a back and forth thing, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I kind of want to ask you your perspective of like the first time you saw me join the program. Like what was, or not even just me, but other people that joined the program. What is it that you see in certain people that blow up and do really well in the program, and the other people that don't do well? What is it, the difference you see? Is it their mindset? Is it the way they came up in the barber game? Or because I always have like, I feel like you kind of know who's gonna do well in the program, who doesn't.
Yeah, it's not really anything with like skills. I wouldn't even say like a mindset thing, right? Like maybe like a mindset of like I just see people who like always do well, like they just don't freaking give up. Because like here's the thing, right? A lot of people who like we work with, right? They'll come in, and I think it's like anything in life. People will start something and have like a really high motivation when they start, and then when they realize like, okay, this is the work that lays ahead. You kind of see where people kind of like it's like their tails either go between their legs, right? And they kind of get like a little more nervous or a little more shy, versus the ones that are like, all right, like it's time to get to work, and it's like they don't give up and they keep on iterating. Like the people who just understand like the process of growing a business is through iteration. It's not like some like either you got it or you don't. Like I think both you and I are like testaments to that. Like I wasn't like good as a barber business at first. Like I had to learn through iteration and like learn like again too. Like I didn't have to be perfect on the first try. I just had to aim for perfection over an extended period of time and make small adjustments towards that. Right. And I think you were the same way. Right. Like you came in and you knew like, okay, I'm charging $35. I want to get to this point. I'm not not going to get like disheartened or give up just because things get hard or like there's a problem. Like whenever I see a problem in something, like I kind of get excited because it's like, okay, this is an opportunity for growth, and if we solve the problem, I can move to the next level. Whereas a lot of other people, like I think just in general, when they see a problem, get nervous or they get like scared, or they have like this like internal conversation with themselves where it's like, oh my god, like I knew I couldn't do it, you know, like, oh my god, there's this problem, it should have been easy. Like, when in fact nothing in life is easy. It's always going to require some effort. It's always going to be hard. And the people who just like stick through like that hard moment and continue pushing and continue iterating and understand it's just a puzzle at the end of the day, right? Any problem that pops up in business or in life, it's just it all it requires is a certain formula. And as long as you like stay diligent on like, okay, cool, I'm testing this one thing out, that got me one step closer, let me try again, and you get infinite amount of tries, like just like a video game. When you start playing life like that, like everything becomes like not as so daunting, but it's just like, okay, I just got to continue staying diligent and staying disciplined of like working on this thing and every single day and not giving up. And I think that's the biggest like sticking point, I would say.
I like that you said that you brought up the video game thing, because I always explain to people about the program, because they always ask me questions about it, and I'm like, bro, it's definitely going to help you out. But I explain to them, like, it's like a video game. Like, every time you play a video game and you level up, that next level is harder, but the reward is bigger. So I explain to them, like, look, it's going to get harder, you're going to have more on your plate, but the reward is so much bigger and so much more worth it. That's a great feeling to have, and then you keep leveling up. But some people are just stuck on one level and they don't care to keep moving, you know, and that's okay, that's fine for them, right? Like, we need losers and winners, so let them do whatever they want to do in life. But I really like saying that to a lot of people that want to join the program. And some people get it and like, all right, let's do it, you know? Another question I have for you, man, is going back, looking at the program, is there anything, I guess you're kind of doing now, but is there anything different you would have done from the beginning, from the get-go?
I don't know if I would say yes, because like, of course I would want, like, knowing what I know now, absolutely. But I think at that point in time, like, I think it's kind of like weird to say, like, looking in hindsight, because like you would always change everything that you did wrong. But if I changed everything I did wrong, I wouldn't have learned the lessons I did along the way. And it's kind of the same thing like when I was a barber, right? Like I sucked at creating content, right? Yeah. And I wouldn't want to change. And like I was the worst one making content in the shop I was cutting in. And I wouldn't change any of that, because that like initial condition of like sucking at making content, it not working out, everyone else succeeding for a long time before me, it kind of like built this like fire in me that I wanted to be the best and be better than everyone else. And I had that drive. And I think without that, I wouldn't have that drive or have a level of expertise the way I have now, because I wouldn't have tried to push that hard, because it would have been easy for me, right? So I think in hindsight, I would always want to say absolutely, but like, you know, I don't, like, there were so many, I would lose out on so many lessons and so many like teaching points for me to like talk to other people about in like a lot of expertise that I've learned along the way to pass along if I hadn't gone through those things. And so I would say no. Like there was like even through like every failure, through every setback, through every like low moment, there's always been like, I always do a really good job of reflecting and be like, all right, what can I take away from this? How can I improve off this? And I've improved tenfold from that like one point, right? Yeah. So I would say absolutely, but like at the end of the day, also probably not, because I wouldn't have had the lessons I have.
Yeah, I think about that a lot too. Like everything I did wrong in the past, I don't regret it, you know? And if anything, I really appreciate it, because like you said, it got you to where you're at right now. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, damn, bro, I should have started earlier. But then again, I'm like, it happened when it's supposed to happen, right?
And who knows? Like maybe if you did start earlier, maybe it wasn't the right time. Like maybe you would have given up, right? Maybe because of the things you didn't go through at that point in time, you would have like, you know, cherished or made it really want to work at that point in time. It's like, it's kind of weird, man, when you think about those things. Like, yeah, like you would want to change things, make things happen earlier, make things happen sooner. But it's like, dude, like there's so much that all of that hardship brought you. And it's like, I wouldn't trade that for anything, honestly.
Yeah, I get a lot of these new clients come in, bro, here in Dallas, which is so cool that they're like 23, 24-year-olds making killer money, bro. And it's so crazy. I'm like, damn, I should have started earlier. But then I'm like, nah, I'm right where I'm supposed to be at. Yeah. But that's one thing I like about Dallas compared to Wichita, is like the clientele here, they're so much more business oriented. They have a business mindset, right? There's so much more money. They know where their money goes, and I like being around that. That helps me like push myself too, right? Oh, I did want to ask you this, like, so obviously the program is just based on barbers and sort of a little bit on the hair industry now, right? Because do we have some cosmetology in there and some locticians? Do you ever think about expanding that outside of the barber industry?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like that's something like that I would want to do. Like right now, like we have plans on like even expanding more in the barber industry and like other avenues as well. But yeah, 100%.
And I like to tell people like the EM program is like Harvard or Yale compared to other programs because there's so many more programs right now. But the way the way I see it is like those programs kind of came out of your program. So what does that say about this program, right? And I like seeing it that way because I talk to people about the shop I used to work at in Wichita. A lot of barbers left that shop and opened up their own shop. Not a lot of them got fired or any of that. So what does that say about our shop? That we're throwing out some killers in the industry, right? That actually doing great.
Yeah.
So it helps people line up to that barbershop and want to work there. And that's kind of how I feel about this program too. Like it's the Harvard, it's the Yale of most programs, and that's why it's definitely worth it to get people on here.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not for sure, man. Not for sure. And I want to say thank you, bro, because you did help me out a lot in this career and mindset, bro. And without you, I don't know where I'd be at, to be honest, bro.
Yeah. Well, like, dude, I gotta thank you too. Like, dude, I remember I was definitely harder on you. Like, honestly, like when you were in the pro, because like I just saw you like you wanted to like grow and scale, right? And I don't know why, dude, but I honestly got frustrated like with you like getting so complacent all the time, right? Because like to me, when I look at you, dude, I'm like, you're a good looking dude. You know how to make content, right? Like you have a good talent. It's like, dude, why are we getting complacent on this thing? I think I don't want to say I snapped on you in one call, but I think I just like kind of shook you up while I was like, dude, wake the fuck up. Like you can get this thing done. Like fucking push, dude. What are we doing?
But I appreciate that a lot, and because I can take it. And it's funny, every time you did do that to me, I always had a few people message me like, bro, how did you take that, this and that? And I was like, bro, he means it in a good way. Like, if he didn't say it to you, you should kind of be worried because then he doesn't really believe in you, right? That's how I saw it. I was like, nah, he's telling me this because he believes in me and knows I can push on. So I appreciate you coming at me in that way. And I still want it to happen. When you texted me the other day, I was like, damn, Daniel's been watching me. I need to step it up again, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, dude. Like I mean, like again, too, you freaking stepped it up in Dallas, dog. Like again, first month there, like 10K month overall. That's pretty fucking savage, dude. Right? Like I know again too. You want to scale up even farther, and it's like, dude, like you go to a new space. The one thing I would say to you, if you're open to like maybe some of my advice on this one, right?
I am. Yeah.
My advice, like I think a lot of barbers and a lot of people in general, like I think there's a lot of power in like switching up like where you reside at, right? Like if you're in a hometown, you switch it up. You there's like a wave of motivation that pushes you forward, right? Because like you're driven, you're motivated, you're like I'm in a new space, and you're all excited. But like, dude, 3, 4, 6 months after that, like when the dust settles, you kind of go back to like who you always were. And so like, you know, I talk about it like whenever a barber, like whenever we have someone raise prices, and I think it's the same mentality whenever you move a space too. It's like, dude, it's gonna feel like everything is just happening so effortlessly right now. But once that dust settles, like you're left with who you were and like who you've been building over that time frame. And so you should double down on your habits, on your routines, on developing who you are right now. So when the dust does settle, just like we said prior, you're set at a new lowest standard, right? And that way you can continue growing. The other flip side of that, if you don't, the only way you can grow or get quote unquote motivation or drive is to always be switching up your environment and always switching up locations and always trying something new. When nothing good comes, like there is no growth that comes from always trying new things. In fact, the people who always try new things, they can always be on the new shiny object, but they never fix like the core root issue, which is like themselves, which is like, you know, when things get hard or the dust settles and things get into boring work, can you do the boring work for an extended period of time and get really freaking good at that? Because very few people want to do that thing. A lot of people always love the new shiny object, love the new thing they want to do, love trying out the new whatever, but it's like the people who do the best stay grounded and like really dig their feet in and be like, I'm staying right here and I'm going to continue pushing this thing forward no matter what it takes, no matter if it gets boring, no matter if it gets like dull. I'm going to keep on like attacking this thing every single freaking day. And that's where like the fun begins, because that's where the real players are at. And I know for you, Ivan, you're a fucking real player, and you just got to dig your feet in when that does happen and the dust settles and it kind of gets redundant and monotonous out there. Of like, okay, now the real work begins, right?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's definitely helpful because I didn't even think about the dust settling out here. So now hearing that, I'm definitely gonna prepare more for it. You know,
it's just like, dude, like, it always happens. Like, I mean, I've moved from Sacramento Sacramento to LA, from LA to Miami. It's like that always happens. Like that, like it always feels good for those because there's always something new. But once that does, it's like, okay, I changed my environment, but I'm still the same individual. Like this, I'm still left with like who I am and how I'm gonna attack the day-to-day basis, and just keep that top mind, top words, because that's what I've learned. It's like take that time, take that motivation factor to really double down on improving yourself. That because at the end of the day, once that dust settles, it's like that's all you're left with. So
Okay.
cool.
I appreciate it, bro.
Well, I mean,
like
do you have anything else? Any other questions before we wrap
Nah,
up?
that's it for now. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Ivan, why don't you go ahead and give us like one last, like I'll ramp us up. Give like what I want you to do is like I'm gonna cue you up to give like one last little like talk to the barbers that are out there that like want to grow their business, that are like motivated but might be fearful, that might be like doubting themselves. Like give like your best like 2 cents to those individuals. Really speak to them while you're thinking about that. For those of you who again too like who want to like look into like working with us like Ivan did inside the Elevated Mentorship Program, what I'll do, I'll put a link down below this video to go ahead and you guys can book a call with one of my team members for a 15-minute call. You can hop on a call, look at your business, see what the problems are, see what the next steps are for you, and kind of give you a game plan or roadmap to go ahead and start scaling your business. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, I'll leave the link down below so you can book that call. Now for you, Ivan, give us your 2 cents.
For the barbers that are stuck and want to grow, I really recommend investing in yourself before you invest in other dumb things like cryptos and stocks and anything else, because I think if you invest in yourself, that's the biggest return you'll get, because you learn a new skill and those skills nobody can take away from you. So I definitely recommend investing in your craft, investing in a mentorship. Something like this would definitely help out. So make sure you do that.
Fuck yeah, dude, Ivan. Very like first of all, like dude, I'm very proud of you. Like again, too, not only like how you've grown as a business, but also how you've grown as a man, right? Like for yourself, I've seen you like really develop over the last couple of years. Not only just of your focus, but also like of the businessman that you've become. And I think I speak for a lot of barbers. Like you are an inspiration to a lot of people of like what can happen when you just double down and really do the work for yourself. So I really just want to say, dude, I'm proud of you. Continue fucking pushing out there. You're gonna absolutely kill it out in Dallas, Texas. Okay.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it a lot, man.